Okay, so welcome to our Python class for this evening. What are we going to cover this evening? Um, let's just take a look at something to do. Um, to so in W3 schools, that Python would handle some aspects of modules. Um, module is a file, Python file that you can call on, which contains functions. I want to include it in your application. We'll create a module. Also work with JSON. We'll use JSON module. That's the module we can use to save data in a format that is acceptable with other languages. And then we'll also use file handling to read, create, and write files. Okay. So for us to do all of this, I'm going to create a new Python environment. Okay. We'll create a new Python environment. So let me just go to my Python file, folder rather, not Python here. And then let me create a new folder. Let me call it student instruments. Okay, we're going to create a student managed app. Okay, so let's select that folder. Okay, so I'm going to create a py folder, file, Python file. So everything I'm going to be doing is going to be running from this file. Okay, I'm going to run it from this file to, okay, let me keep that here. All right. So let me put a comment. Say, Python codes to students. Start with that. Okay. Now, okay. This is a Copilot. I'm using Copilot. All right. So let's start from something very simple. Um, entering the student's records. Okay, entering the student records. But for us to do that, okay, for us to do that, I'm going to create a Python file, another Python file called student.py. Okay, student.py. Now, here, I'm going to create a, say, manage student records. Okay, I think that works. To create file student records. Now, let us say I want to enter student record, for instance. For me to do that, I will need to, let's just say something as easy as, say, student name, student, that's really, okay? So, okay, as easy as this. Now, after I enter the student name, I need to store the student name somewhere, okay? I need to store it somewhere. Now, I need to create it as an object. Yes, I'm going to say student equals to object. Okay, say name, then student name. Student name. Let's leave it like this. Now, okay. And then I need to add this student name to a list of students. Okay, so let me create a new list here. We say list, say student list, student list. So it's going to that. And so after I create a student, we will add the students to that list. Say student list and student. Okay, so this is one easy way to add students to the list. However, I will need to add more than one student. Okay, I need to add more than one student. So for me to do that, I have to go to run a loop. Go to run a loop. So let me do that. Let me run a loop. Go to top here to bring this down. Okay, so let me say that uh, I want to enter number of records. Okay, let me reach out to that number of records. Now, for me to do that, I will create a function. So I'm going to say, for instance, def add students. Okay, def add students. So I'm going to now pass of students. I'm going to say students. Okay, so based on that, I'll now say, we'll say for students in range of students. This is going to now look that number. Okay, so this my tab key is not working. Okay, tab key it isn't working. Let's go. Each tab is species of 4. Okay, that appends my list. Okay, so now this is my student list, which is here. Okay, is I'm going to now add it to my function. Add it to the function. Okay, okay, and then that's creating student list. Cool. So I've created a function in my students.py file. Now, let me come to my main.py file. So here, I can actually now ask the user to enter number of students. So I'm going to say enter number of students. You say number of students. So int input enter number of students. Now, because I may have issues with what may be entered here, I'm going to do a try catch to resolve that. So we'll say function check integer value. Check integer okay, value. So we will say try, yeah. If this value is correct, so that's returns true, otherwise returns false. So this is def, sorry, cool. So returns false. But actually, okay, so I want to return the value itself, the integer value. So I'm going to say value, or let me say checked, checked value, equals to 0. So checked value equals to int value. So I'm going to say return. I'm not going to return anything. We comment that out. Comment this out too. So we must return something. We have to ask this guy to return checked value. Okay. 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 And then here, I'm going to print something out here. Let me say print. So it's value inputs. Yeah, that works. It's that integer value. So I'm going to now check integer. Or students go to check integers. So that solves my problem. Now, I want to now run my student, I want to run add students function here. Okay, so to do that, I would have to import my student.py file. So let me say import students. Okay, so this student that I'm importing is this student.py file. That's what I'm importing. So it's my own Python file. It's a module now in this Python file. This is a main.py file. I'm importing it. Now, because I've been able to import it, I can now say, can now call this function here in this student.py, which is add students. I'm going to say students dot add students of students. Okay, so that does it. So we'll say this guy. Okay, so let us run it and see what we get. Run this guy. Data number of students. So let's see, I will treat 2 students, for instance. Student John. Okay, student name Sam. Then output mine. Then output it. So I'm returning this student list. So I'm going to, okay, I'm going to say students added. Okay, because it's returning it as a list. So I'm going to print out students added. Okay, so let's go back the codes here. Let's go back to codes here. All right, so I have my student.py. This function adds students. It takes this parameter, which is the number of students, and then I have an empty list here, and I now loop by the number of students that are passing through to this function. So if I enter 2, it's going to loop twice. If I enter 3, it will go to loop 3 times. But take note, you must put this range function here. So by the time I loop, for each loop, I will enter a student name. As I'm entering a student name, I create a dictionary and append it to the student list, which I'm now returning to this students added variable. Here, I'm simply just using the check integer function which I created to check that user entered number, which is valid. So if you enter a number which is valid, it's going to add the number of students that I've said I've input into the into this input here, enter number of students. So if I say 2, it's going to call the student to py 2 and then loop twice, enter student twice and return it back to the students added, and then it prints it out for me. Okay, cool. So let's run it again and see what we get. So again, let me see the picture. Okay, sorry. I was supposed to enter number of, yeah. Now you see this enter number of students. If I entered John, for instance, it says invalid input. Please enter an integer value. Also, this try catch exception here. Okay, so let's clear the screen. Okay, let's run this guy. Number of students to okay, yeah, you see, I have name John Alim. I also have name Hassan Gardner in that. So that is how I use I create a module and I use it. Now Python also has inbuilt modules. Okay, Python has inbuilt modules, and one of them that we're going to use is our JSON module. It's our JSON module. Now, what does our JSON module do? Let's take a look at it. I'm going to use it here. Now, JSON is JavaScript object notation. It is used to, store data. It's used to store records. Okay, let me just save that. Formats. Okay, that's easy to read and write, yeah. So that is what it does. So what it does, JSON. Okay, what it import JSON. Now, by virtue of importing JSON, I can now be able to I can convert my student list to JSON and return it back. So let us take a look at this. So I'm going to say I have my student list that I pin. Okay, and then I'm going to say, say, students data. Okay, so student data. So JSON dot okay, JSON dot dump. So what this does is it's going to convert my it's going to convert my dictionary into a string. Okay, that's what this is going to do. Let's just see some description here. Python JSON. So if I want to, if I say dot dumps, it's convert Python to JSON. Yeah, dot dumps converts Python to JSON. When we convert JSON to Python, use the dot loads. Okay, cool. So student data is what I want to now return back. Student data back. Okay, so student added goes to student add, and then I can print this. Cool. So if I run this guy, enter number of students, and just enter one student. This means, okay, so I have this month entered here. If we want to just take a look, you see that there's some little differences. For instance, you see that the quotes here is single, but the quotes here are double. Okay? So now we want to be able to store these records. Okay? We want to be able to store these records. For us to store these records, we will need a file. We need a file to restoring the records. It is just the basic one we can use for now. Okay, just the basic one we can use for now. So let us take a look at that to create a file because we want to be able to save the record of the students after creating them. So that is Python file handling. Okay, Python file handling. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be creating the file and writing and reading to the file. So it's opening. So let me just go straight here. Now, if you want to open a file, let me get from here.